At 2157, humanity finally built its first Dyson Sphere. We believed we had reached the pinnacle of civilization, until we discovered the abandoned ruins of an alien civilization. The final message they left behind contained only 7 words. We touched the boundary. What boundary? This civilization was at least 100,000 years ahead of us. Their technology could keep stars burning for hundreds of billions of years. They used neutron stars as construction materials. They could even create stable wormholes. But toward the end of their records, the tone changed abruptly. Excited exploration turned into cries of despair. They had discovered that the universe contains 4 insurmountable lines of death. The first was the barrier of causality. You can never make information travel faster than light. This means you can never truly control the universe on large scales. The second was energy conservation. You want to build a vacuum energy perpetual motion machine. Sorry, the second law of thermodynamics will tear that dream apart. The third was the most deadly of all. Quantum uncertainty. It means that precisely predicting the future is physically impossible. And the fourth, they wrote only 3 words. The observer paradox. Then the record ended abruptly. So what happened to this civilization in the end? What ultimate truth did they discover? Let's start with the first line of death. This civilization once tried every possible way to exceed the speed of light. They built a particle accelerator stretching 1 full light year. They accelerated spacecraft to 99.9999% the speed of light. What they found was terrifying. The closer you got to light speed, the required energy increased exponentially. Even when they poured the energy of an entire star into the system, the spacecraft only approached light speed infinitely. It could never actually reach it. More frightening still, they realized this wasn't a technological limitation. It was a fundamental rule of the universe. Einstein's relativity was like an iron law, locking all civilizations permanently below the speed of light. But what truly drove them to despair was a cruel calculation. Even traveling at light speed, crossing the Milky Way from end to end would take 100,000 years. And the nearest major galaxy, Andromeda, is 2.5 million light-years away. Even if you could live that long, even if you could travel at light speed, the expansion of the universe would ensure you could never catch up to those distant galaxies. Scientists called this the cosmic horizon. Galaxies beyond this distance are receding from us faster than light, not because they themselves move faster than light, but because the space between us is expanding. What does that mean? It means the universe we can ever access accounts for less than 3% of the total universe. The remaining 97% has forever escaped the domain of causality. No signal, no ship, no civilization will ever be able to reach them again. This civilization realized that, no matter how powerful they became, the universe they could explore had been strictly limited from the very beginning. It was like being trapped in a shrinking cage, with the key forever beyond reach. Then came the second line of death, the second law of thermodynamics. By the later stages of their development, this civilization could precisely control the motion of every single atom. They believed they had mastered the secrets of the universe. But when they studied energy transformation in depth, they uncovered an even more hopeless truth. Every conversion of energy in the universe inevitably produces entropy. What is entropy? Simply put, it is disorder. And the entropy of the universe can only increase, never decrease. They once conducted an experiment inside a closed galaxy. They attempted to build a perfect energy recycling system. They captured every ray of starlight, converted every bit of black hole mass, even harnessed dark matter. Yet no matter how optimized the system became, some energy always dissipated as waste heat into space, never to be recovered. Calculations showed that, after 10 to the 100 power years, all stars would go dark, all black holes would evaporate, and the universe would become a uniform void, approaching absolute zero. This was heat death, not an explosion, not a collapse, but a slow, irreversible drift toward oblivion. This civilization realized that every Dyson Sphere they built, every planet they explored, would ultimately fade into nothingness. In the river of time, entropy was like an invisible countdown, starting from the birth of the universe, calculating the death of all civilizations. You can delay it, but you can never stop it. Worse still, the more advanced the civilization, the more energy it consumed, and the faster entropy increased, like struggling in a tightening noose. One of their greatest physicists once said, "We conquered the sea of stars, but lost to the laws of thermodynamics." Then came the third line of death, quantum uncertainty. As this civilization explored the microscopic world, they encountered an even more absurd truth. At the quantum scale, everything is probabilistic. You can never simultaneously know a particle's position and velocity. Observation itself changes the outcome. This wasn't a limitation of measurement. It was a fundamental property of reality. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle was like a curse, forever sealing the door to predicting the future. This civilization once built a super quantum computer to simulate the evolution of the entire universe. They input every known physical law, the state of every particle, convinced they could predict the future. But beyond a critical point, all predictions collapsed into probability clouds. The future wasn't fixed. It was a superposition of countless possibilities. What did this mean? It meant that even if you knew every law of the universe, you still couldn't know what would happen next. At its core, the universe was random. The scientists fell into deep existential despair, realizing that causality itself did not exist at the microscopic level. The decay of a single electron could trigger a chain reaction, leading to the destruction of an entire galaxy, and you could never predict when that decay would occur. Worse yet, the Planck scale imposed an absolute limit. Trying to observe space smaller than 10 meters would require such extreme energy density that space itself would collapse into a black hole. In other words, the universe has a minimum scale. Beyond that point, the laws of physics simply break down. It was as if the universe itself was saying, "This is as far as you go. Don't ask further." But what truly broke this civilization was the fourth line of death, the observer paradox. In the final pages of their records, the handwriting became frantic, chaotic. They had discovered something deeply disturbing about quantum mechanics. Observation affects reality. The famous double-slit experiment showed that when unobserved, particles behave like waves, but when observed, they behave like particles. It was as if the universe was watching you, changing the rules depending on what you did. The physicists began asking a deeper question. If observation alters reality, then is the universe we see the true universe, or an illusion shaped by our observations? They designed an experiment to record quantum events without observers, but they found that any recording device counted as an observer. They tried replacing humans with AI. The wave function still collapsed. That's when they realized a terrifying possibility. Maybe the universe doesn't exist at all, at least not in the way we understand. Perhaps the universe only becomes real at the moment it is observed. Then what is the universe when no one is observing it? A chaotic sea of probabilities, or nothing at all. At this point, the record suddenly went blank. Then, only a few final lines remained. We finally understand why the universe set these limits. Not because technology was insufficient, not because time was insufficient, but because if we truly touch the truth, we might discover that we never truly existed. The observer and the observed may have always been the same thing. What did this mean? Scientists later proposed a radical idea called the participatory universe. This theory argues that the universe does not exist independently of observers, but requires observers to become real. In other words, our observation creates the universe. The universe does not create us. Like a snake devouring its own tail, cause and effect become indistinguishable. The civilization's final record was a set of coordinates and a single sentence. If anyone finds this message, do not go to this coordinate. What lies there is the final door we tried to open. What was that door? No one knows. But it is certain that this civilization attempted to break through the fourth barrier and encountered something beyond our comprehension. Then they vanished. So now the question is this: are these four barriers truly the iron laws of the universe, or are they merely the limits of our understanding? Some scientists believe that higher civilizations may bypass these barriers by bending space instead of exceeding light speed, by reversing entropy in higher dimensions, by uncovering hidden variables behind quantum randomness. Others hold a darker view. The Fermi paradox asks one simple question: if the universe contains so many stars and planets, why have we found no trace of extraterrestrial civilizations? Perhaps because all civilizations eventually encounter these insurmountable barriers, and either abandon exploration or destroy themselves attempting to break through. This is the great filter. That vanished civilization may have touched its ultimate form. Their warning may be clear. Some truths are more dangerous to know than to leave hidden. Like Pandora's box, sometimes not opening the box is the wisest choice. And humanity, will we repeat their fate? Today, we haven't even touched the first barrier. Our fastest spacecraft travel only tens of kilometers per second, still tens of thousands of times slower than light. Our understanding of quantum mechanics allows experiments but defies explanation. We don't even know what dark matter and dark energy are, yet they make up 95% of the universe. But maybe that's a blessing. That civilization spent millions of years reaching the end and found despair. We still have endless time to explore, to imagine, to believe there is hope. Sometimes, ignorance is a kind of happiness. But if one day humanity does reach those boundaries, what choice will we make? Will we like them, open the final door at any cost? Or will we stop and accept our limits? Perhaps there is no answer, or perhaps the answer lies beyond those 4 lines of death, waiting for some brave, or mad, civilization to uncover it. Till now, the ruins of that alien civilization still drift silently in deep space, and perhaps one day, when our technology grows powerful enough, a human ship will journey there to seek the final answer. Only then will we know whether behind that door lies the ultimate truth of the universe, or the ultimate graveyard of civilization.